Welcome back to Off the Bench. I'm Brandon Carney alongside Pat Gustafson. And in case you guys haven't noticed, we have another little special guest here, Austin Ekeler. Austin, thank you for joining the pod. This is for having this be the first guest on, Pat, our version of this podcast. This is a pretty good guest.
We shot really high,
high expectations. There you go. Look, hey, if you don't go out and put out those vibes, try to get high things done, then you don't get them. So start at the top, work your way down. Huh?
That's true.
I like it.
Send a DM and see where it goes. And it ended up going pretty well. So thank you for joining us, man. We won't keep you forever. But look, this has kind of evolved into a mostly fantasy football podcast. So I wanted to talk to you as sort of one of the biggest advocates for fantasy football, especially around the NFL. A question I've had for a really long time, and honestly one that sparked me wanting to get you on the show, is you've been such a vocal advocate for fantasy football. And I've seen how toxic the game can be and how some players kind of shy away from it. How have you been able to stay so positive when it comes to fantasy football to the point where you are such an avid participant and supporter of the game?
There's two things to this. Don't suck. That's one. If you come out and you perform, guess what? They're gonna love you. It is very much so the old Roman Colosseum, thumbs up or thumbs down,
Right.
You kind of go with the crowd. So I've been consistent, and consistency in fantasy football is usually a good thing as long as it's good consistency and not consistently being bad. And so that is an easy one, but one that goes deeper than the surface of just, results. And one is like, look, I'm an athlete. I've had a bunch of different fans, haters, people that are with me, against me for so long. And for me, I will always be my biggest critic. And so you could say whatever you want about me. I don't care. I've had people tell me to go off myself. Like, I've had people that have told me they love me. Like, someone named their kid after me. Like, from all different types of the spectrum of good and bad. Like, I've had it all. And so for me, it's like, look, I have thick skin, because no matter what they say, even if they love me or they hate me, guess what? I got to go out there and take care of business in the way that I can. And at the end of the day, it doesn't necessarily directly affect me as far as what people are saying in the fantasy world, but I've had so many supporters in there. That's why I do tend to give back and do all of my fantasy show and things like that. So I see it as an opportunity, and that's why I am an advocate of fantasy football. And I think more guys, I wish more guys could see it as an opportunity for themselves off the field as well. But it's going to take some time. I think it just takes one person to kind of lead the way and get it done.
Well, hey, I admire the support you've had, because, like I said, I've seen the dark side of it, the dirty side of it. I mean, I've been playing since I was in, high school, and high schoolers are the worst. I like to think I kept myself, not being on the bad side of things, but a lot of people can definitely take it a little too far.
Yeah, I feel like it's not hard to not harass an NFL player. I feel like that's not a hard thing to do. So
You'd think that would be a baseline.
With social media nowadays, and what fantasy has done is really gamified it's gamified things. And so now we are like pawns on your chessboard and not like actual humans, so, that plays a factor into it as well.
That makes sense. Austin, you recently said, there was a quote, "This will be one of the most impactful seasons I've ever had." I saw that through ESPN Fantasy, I believe, posted that quote. What makes you say that about this year?
Yeah, there's a lot that rides on this year, and there's different levels to it. But it starts with myself. It always has to start with yourself, as far as your own expectation of what you expect from yourself, the level of performance that you expect yourself to play with, and holding yourself to that standard. And that's where everything always starts. That's the seed that has blossomed to who I am today as a person. And then there's things that rely on me, and I've built that up over time. No one really relies on you in the beginning when you're not doing much. But when you start doing a lot of people rely on you. And so that's why I say this is the most impactful season I will have to this date, because I've continued to build myself up. And so this is kind of a summarized version of it. But I give like example, my teammates are one, my direct family, my ownership, my fantasy football fans, the Charger fans, my team that I've built out around myself, that I run all my different off the field business endeavors with, right? They all rely on me having some type of status, having some type of success on the field, and keeping myself relevant in the NFL. And so the more I continue to grow and the more I continue to expand my capabilities, the more people that rely on me. And so this is the most I've had ever relying on me to actually go out there and make a difference. And so for me, that's where I'm in a position where this is the most impactful position I've ever been in as far as for my own life. And then also it's a contract year as well. For me, this is the last year of my contract. And so that's a pretty big, another opportunity that I need to, take advantage of as well. So all of the pressure from all of those things all at once, and I love it. So I'm looking forward to this year.
Well, the success has definitely been there. Overall touchdown leader over the last 2 years. And Pat, I know you have a question revolving around that.
Going along that kind of on the field there, I guess the biggest detractor against you in fantasy football is, he's too touchdown dependent. What would you say to those guys? And along those lines, what's your elevator pitch? If I have the first pick, why should I take Austin Ekeler?
Yeah, I mean, I'm touchdown dependent, but I've done it for the last 2 years. The only reason I didn't do it the year before that is because I blew up my hamstring and missed, 6 games and then was trying to come back the rest. But as far as consistency, if I'm on the field, I'm going to make an impact. I'm getting the ball in my hands. And not only am I getting the ball in my hands, but I'm making stuff happen with it. You can look at my efficiency in the red zone. It's off the charts. Oh, am I dependent on it? Yeah, because that's where I'm best. I'm best in the red zone. So it's great that I'm great in the red zone. You could say I'm dependent on the red zone, but if that's your strength of your play and where you come alive, then so what? If you're Steph Curry and you're a 3-point shooter, are you going to say, well, he's only a 3-point shooter? He doesn't play good defense or something like that. Well, I mean, he's so good at shooting the ball. Guess what? That's where he becomes a legend. And so, pick and choose. What do you want to deal with? You want a traditional back that's going to be, running the rock all the time. I had 107 catches, set a, franchise record, last year. Well, guess what? Our receivers were hurt, so I caught the ball more. If our receivers are healthy, I'm going to run the ball more. Guess what? No matter what happens, if Austin Ekeler's on the field, he's going to be supplementing his offense in whatever way they need him to be. And so, I mean, they're going to use me. And so if you want someone that's going to be used, in efficient matters on the field, then I would say Austin Ekeler's a good pick.
I'm convinced.
I agree. And that's the thing. It must be your reputation as a receiving back, which you are a very, very effective one, that people just don't picture you like plunging the ball in the end zone. And they're like, how does he keep doing it? Well, you've done it again for 2 years now. So people who think that the touchdowns, there has to be a regression, I don't necessarily know about that, especially with any steps forward the offense as a whole could take this year, which I'd like to touch on. So the Chargers obviously made a huge change at offensive coordinator, bringing in Kellen Moore. How has this change been for you, and what do you feel he brings to the table?
Yeah, I think it's something that's interesting to note when we're in preseason with a 90-man roster, really who's getting evaluated during preseason, right? OTAs, training camp are the players. And you don't really get to evaluate people until the games really start, because that's when it's like game time for them. Like, we can still get evaluated, but it's not as in depth, right? Same for the players, but I think you can pick and choose because we actually get preseason games. And so it's one of those things where we don't know. We don't know. Like, we have great players on our team. We hope we're explosive. We want to push the ball down the field. We want to get our running average up and not be 30th in the league. And so, like, we have these aspirations, but until we actually get on the field and see what's working for us, see how we're going to, develop our play style, we don't know what the outcome's going to be. I do know that, I have a lot of confidence in this guy. He's been around. He's had success, obviously, with the Cowboys last year and their #1 offense. So looking to kind of bring some of that success over here with our pieces. And then now it comes down to us actually being able to execute and pull through. It's a two-way street. We need coaches to coach. We need players to play. And when those come together and synchronize and good chemistry, look out, because good things happen. So time will tell. But as of now, I'm pretty excited for, what we have as far as pieces.
And the biggest thing people have been talking about with Kellen Moore is he's going to unleash Justin Herbert. He's going to bring Justin Herbert back to his 2021 self. He's going to let him throw the ball downfield. You got Quentin Johnston, a healthy Mike Williams, hopefully. Could Justin go back to being that guy, the 5,000-yard passer who almost throws 40 touchdowns? What do you expect from him?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's ever not been that guy. I think he just had to adapt. We lost Jalen Guyton, a couple years ago, and now that was our speed guy. Now we lost him, through injuries from Mike, from Keenan. So when you get guys injured, guess what? You have to adapt. And so that's why do you think I went into the season knowing I was going to set a franchise record for catches? Like, heck no. I'm thinking about, right, being efficient, but guess what? We had to adapt. And could he be unleashed? Absolutely. We got Quentin Johnson that just came in. We have Keenan, who's healthy. Mike, everyone's healthy right now in our offense, all the pieces. So as far as catching the ball, slinging it around, absolutely. It looks great on paper, but paper doesn't play football games. People do. And so we have to go out there and actually write our own narrative, and then we can talk about it. Let's talk about things that we're doing, not things that are maybe it's going to. Maybe Kellen will unleash him. Maybe he doesn't, because that's not what we need this year, and that's not where we're good. Maybe it is. But as far as like anticipation, I think, you could definitely make a bold prediction there to be like, yeah, Justin's going to have a lot of pieces to throw to. And if not, guess what? He can still check it down to his backfield buddy, and we can go get some yards that way.
And I'm sure he will be doing that plenty. Justin Herbert, QB2, I believe it was, Pat, in fantasy 2 years ago. Shifting it back to fantasy a little bit now, I'm sure you have a ton of football memories over your long career, but I'm curious, do you have a standout favorite fantasy football memory, whether it's beating somebody on the last play of Monday Night Football or starting yourself and leading yourself to a win? Is there anything that sticks out to you?
Yeah, there's two major things that stick out to me, and they were never instances. I just never had there's so many different instances. One was, I think I had 4 touchdowns one game. I think I scored like 38 fantasy points or something like that, something crazy. Maybe it was even 40 something. And then I think Jonathan Taylor that week had like 5 touchdowns and he had like 50 something. But so that was, I guess, a moment. But really the things that really stand out to me was being RB2 last year in PPR leagues, and then being RB1 this past year. Like that's something that I'll never forget, and that was something that will live with me forever. And looking to bring it back for another one, another title. Yeah, that's one of those that I'm like, man, like I'll look back on and always remember in the fantasy world, and hopefully will kind of be a staple of my fantasy career, even when I'm done playing.
I love it.
And now we've got to get some of your insight here. Is there anyone in particular, whether on the Chargers or whether on another team, any sleepers? Anyone that's not on our radars that should be?
Man, I hate the sleeper pick conversation, which I know that's what everyone wants to know, right? Who's the next guy? But right. It's such a ridiculous like expectation for you to be able to say like this person's gonna pop off. Like I even go back to my situation. Like I was a special teams guy. I was strictly special teams, and then I came out of nowhere. There was no way anyone would have picked me my rookie year because I was just running down on punts and kickoffs, and then I ended up having like 800 yards offense and like 5 touchdowns. And so there's people like me that will pop up out of nowhere, which is why I think the NFL is so great, because you have opportunities for guys that can be those sleeper people. But for me to say that I can even start to think, I'm not in the weeds like some people are, as far as like, okay, look at the situation, how could this possibly play out? I got my own situation to deal with, so yeah. Can't give too much on the sleeper. Sorry about that.
That's all good. You're a little busy this time of year. I think we understand that much.
Yeah.
If we want to make it easy on everybody, just draft Austin if you have the chance to.
That wouldn't be a bad.
Who needs sleepers when you've got the RB1?
Exactly. Now, you made it a point to connect with fans, whether it's through fantasy football, social media, whatever it may be. You took that to another level. I want to talk about your app Experience. For the people out there that don't know, what is Experience and how did you come up with the idea?
Yeah, Experience is an app that I've created, and there's a website as well, but it's a way to engage with influential people. People that have a fan base can go and sign up for Experience and offer different ways to basically monetize their own name through interactions that they want to do. For instance, during fantasy football season right now, like I'm announcing people's fantasy draft orders. There's a thing you can go on there. I can talk trash to your fantasy opponent for you. You can do video chats. If you want to get your jersey signed, I've assigned my stuff. So we have 6 different offerings that all of our people, our talent can offer on there to their fans. And so right now, yeah, if you check us out, it's experience.io. And it's spelled by like my last name. It's EKSPERINECE, Experience. And so it's a way that I wanted to engage with fans in a way that was like kind of catered to the way I wanted to do it, because I know you're a content creator. It's a full-time job. And for me, I'm like, I don't have that commitment, but I'm definitely willing to engage with people. I'm just going to do it here on the platform where I can turn it off and on in a more like individualized way. So that's Experience, and looking forward to continue to grow this thing and get more influential people. Hey, maybe even yourselves get on there, put the podcast on there. People can come in and ask questions and things like that. But no, it's a way for people to get access that they wouldn't normally get.
For sure. No, I checked it out. It looks like I mean, it's a more advanced Cameo is what it looks like to me. It's
Right.
like Cameo, but with so many more options. You have guys who allow you to like have a video game session with somebody, or like you said, get things signed, just answer a DM, even stuff like that. So way more advanced than here, make a video for me, which I thought was a really, really cool aspect of it. Another thing you're into, you formed the Austin Ekeler Foundation in 2020 to help people who, in your own words, have limited resources, limited opportunities to fulfill their passions in their lives. What are you most proud of that has come from your foundation?
Ooh, wow. Actually, there was a unique situation that literally just happened. We signed a new running back into our room. His name is Aaron Shamp. Aaron Shamp, and he went to Long Beach Poly, and we just finished Long Beach Poly's weight room renovation. So going just a little bit of details on my foundation. I love to implement resources, tangible physical resources into communities that are lacking. And so Long Beach Poly's weight room hadn't been renovated in 50 years. And so we went and the floorboards are sticking up, the equipment's falling apart. So we're like, okay, this is a great opportunity for us to go and give back. And Aaron actually went to that school, and now he's in my room. He's like, man, I saw that project. That was so awesome. Like, I remember going through school there, and it was definitely torn up, things like that. So that was a pretty cool example of just making an impact in people's lives. And so for me, the biggest impact that I'm proud of is putting resources that will change generations. Another one that we did that I'm really proud of, and we'll keep doing more, is put washers and dryers at schools in Watts, California, whereas a higher population of lower income students in some of the elementary schools. So people living in assisted living or people living in their cars and don't have washers and dryers, they can bring a bag of clothes to school, get their clothes washed. So little normal things that, I would say people, in general, say, like washing your clothes seems like a general thing that everyone should have access to. Well, not everyone does. So let's put those, because those are opportunities for some people, an opportunity to wash my clothes. And so for us, like, we're looking for things like that to go and put back into this community, so we can continue to get people going and get themselves in the right steps to actually better themselves in the future.
No, that's awesome. I mean, getting out there and being involved in the community and making sure people have those opportunities is huge, especially when it's stuff that, like you said, we kind of take for granted at times. So it's very, very cool. Austin, I can't really say enough. Thank you so much for your time. Is there anything that you want to tell the people out here before we let you go?
I don't. I just want to say I love your content, man. I found you on TikTok, and so that's where I came from. I love See, I got thick skin when it comes to it. So there's some like sarcasm in there. There's some like poking at people in there, and no one's safe too, because you'll poke at the owners, you'll poke at the players, you'll poke at fans. Like, I think it's great. So keep up the good stuff, and you're not totally toxic. There's some people out there that are actually toxic out there. Yeah, I think you have like a line of like dark, or not like dark humor, but like somewhat in the dark humor space of like a little bit borderline, like poking at people. And I think it's awesome. So keep up the good work, man.
Thank you, man.
I appreciate it. Austin, I gotta do
I always worry about. Oh, go ahead.
I gotta do one thing too. For my father would kill me. I gotta say, you know who runs the West, right? Not these guys, not those bums.
He knows it's not the Raiders. Don't worry about
it. Literally anyone else. Quite literally anyone else.
Yeah, but no, Austin, I was gonna say, like, that is one thing I worry about with my content sometimes, is I'm like, I do know that obviously now NFL players are seeing my stuff, coaches, everybody's seeing it, and I wonder how people are gonna react to it. So, not that changes how I make it or anything, but it does make me wonder. I'm like, are people gonna be like, oh, this guy's ridiculous? And I like to think I don't cross that line, but hey, I appreciate you for taking it with a grain of salt, knowing that I'm kidding pretty much 100% of the time, and I will roast the hell out of my own team, let alone everybody else's team. So any Patriots nonsense you see in there, as a Patriots guy, know that that's me leveling the playing field a little bit. So thank you, man. We appreciate your time. And by the way, I will be at your preseason game against the 49ers in San Francisco. So hopefully, I probably won't see you on the field, to be honest. So I don't know if I will be. I don't know if I have that kind of access. But either way, I'm going to be there. Be there in attendance. So thank you again for your time, man. Have a great day.
Thank you so much, Austin. Good luck.
Yep.
See you,
Thanks, guys.